you're throwing out a lot of ideas of things they could do.
I'm an
You can
idea
do
guy.
that. You can do that because they haven't done anything. What do you think the Red Sox are waiting for? Were they
Well,
waiting for the Stanton and Ohtani dominoes to fall, or are they just waiting for the market to sort itself out?
that's an interesting point. I talked about that on a radio show the other day. Actually, it's like when you look at Boris, his markets usually take some time to develop. Like Prince Fielder, no one there was no real market for him. It waited till the end of January, and and then he signed a huge deal with the Tigers a few years back. Well, he's got the two biggest clients on the free agent market in terms of hitters, both Martinez and Hosmer. So maybe, it's going a little slower because he's the agent and he's looking to, get the most money as possible. There's been some reports out that there's some interest in Carlos Santana. I really wouldn't do that if I was the Red Sox because he's got a qualifying offer. If the Red Sox were to sign him, they'd have to give up their second round pick next year. They'd also have to do that if they got Hosmer, but Hosmer is a better overall player and younger. So he would be more worth the second round pick. Whereas I don't know with Santana. So, the market really hasn't developed in terms of free agency at all for the top free agents, so no one's really done anything in terms of free agency yet with the big names. And there's only really been the Stanton trade and, those in smaller dominoes to fall. So I expect things to start to heat up a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, I meant to ask you. Outside of the Stanton news, which was really do you think the Stanton news was kind of like everyone was kind of waiting to see what happened with that, and now we're gonna see some moves come through, especially with the GM meetings?
I don't know because it was just such a select group, and I think everybody kind of knew who was in and who was out on that.
Oh,
So
apparently we didn't. We thought the Red Sox were in.
Well, I think in terms of organization-wise, though, everybody kind of knew who was going to be in, and except for maybe the Cardinals and the San Francisco, who both got meetings with him, and they thought they could get him. I think everybody kind of had an idea on who could get him and who couldn't. I don't know if the Red Sox could have got him if they actually made a legit offer. It seemed like he did accept meetings with the Giants and the Cardinals, but I think his agent really pushed him, I think, to accept those meetings, whereas he didn't really need to be pushed to accept a meeting with the Yankees. That was one of his main teams. Maybe he would have been, had to have been pushed to accept a meeting with the Red Sox, and maybe the Red Sox could have swayed him to their side, We'll see.
Or at least driven up the asking price for the Yankees, like get into a bidding war for him?
Yeah, I mean, and again, it didn't, Stanton, in a way, didn't put the Marlins in a good position, because he had a select group of teams and he got traded to, he'd only accept certain offers. And at the end of the day, his team that, gave him a lot of money, he didn't leave them with much. So, that could be a takeaway from this on Stanton. And Stanton didn't have a very good, some comments during this thing. I mean, I'm not trying to trash on Stanton or anything. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But, there were some certain things that said that some media members laughed during the press conference, like silently to themselves, like not laughter, like everybody broke out and laughed during the press conference, but they were like, smiling, like, did you just hear that? Like he said, like, that somebody asked him about what he would say to Marlins fans. And he said, watch from afar. It's like, so don't watch the broadcast, watch from afar, read the articles, maybe. Tune in, hear what they did on the radio, but don't watch the team or something. It's kind of weird, some of the comments he made about the Marlins.